Hi guys, this is Sifiso Sifunda, the author of the Scenic Route. You are watching Inside Mbombela.
This is the story of how I outlasted self-doubt, institutional gaslighting, and a profession that sometimes felt like it was designed to break you.
Everybody's willing to surrender.
Welcome to this week's exciting episode of Inside Mbombela. I'm still your host, Leo Gant. So now, I don't know about you, but whenever I think of the word scenic route, and I'm lucky enough to call this beautiful province home, I think, green canopies, scenic drives, beautiful out, everything that makes this place called a beautiful green heaven. But then today, so it so happens, we have an author by the name with the book by the same title, Scenic Route. So, myself, I've said too much. Introduce yourself to my people.
Yeah, my name is Sifiso Sifunda, and yes, it's correct. I've authored a book. Many people might not know, but yeah, I've authored a book. It's titled The Scenic Route, and maybe as the conversation goes on, we'll probably learn a bit more about me. Yeah.
Don't worry. You can delete the maybe from that sentence. We are here to interrogate you on camera. So don't feel like a snitch. You're not a snitch. Snitches are. I know, boys. Come on. You are safe. You are safe. Boys and girls, this is the book in question, Scenic Route, and this guy in jail, there's a few questionable chapters, but we're going there. I've got you. Let's go on. It's a fantastic read. Go out and buy it. I'll check. This book basically, to me, it's all about perseverance and hard-headedness. Like there were so many exit signs, so many off-ramps that you drove past. You chose to drive past. What kept you going?
Yeah, not to lie to you or anything, but there was a point where I gave up. There's a term called quiet quitting. A lot of people use it in a professional setup as I'm 17.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you quiet quit and you just go about your things.
Yeah, you just do the bare minimum now.
Yeah, that's what probably happened. I'm sure you'll see in one of the chapters I dealt with it where I spoke about when I didn't want to hear anything about CASA. I really didn't. I quietly quit, but maybe not quietly, but I was there.
You were there.
What kept you going?
Well, this thing is okay. I've never done drugs, but I see how people describe it.
You understand how
it's like a drug, and you just can't seem not to want. This route for a lot of people is what I could describe as that, because you go in, and all of us when we go in. 7 years in and out, but when you start getting invested in it, you see the difficulty people describe, you see the challenges people encounter, the sacrifices one must make, as well as letting it shape you, because it will shape you.
It will shape you.
Definitely. So that's probably what kept me in the game.
Sane.
To an extent.
The word you're looking for is sane.
Yeah. Well, sanity. It also shapes you. Let me just put it that way. It also shapes you. You will go insane alone, 1 a.m.
Yeah.
in the morning. And I think we had a mini group. I'm sure with a lot of the guys that you have in the book that I've actually paid homage to.
Yeah.
Basically, with the choir. So when you go out and study,
Yeah.
So when you out there choir, you will go crazy. But at the same time, I think the end goal is probably going to keep you there, because there's thousands of young people, sometimes not even young anymore.
Yeah, the people
going through that
journey.
And
yes,
for me, it's one thing. Probably primarily why I wrote the book in the first place.
Don't spill all my beans. Don't spill all my beans. It could answer one by one. One by one.
Problem.
So spill the beans one by one.
Yes. Let's begin counting them. There are only 28. I don't know.
And a person who started accounting, most probably go UNISA when I say bean counter.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
No, absolutely. You know, you used this interesting term in your book. It came up, and when I read it my eyes highlighted it. You called it failing forward. I get it 89% of the time, if not higher. You think I failed, but in every bit of failure, there were lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
You grew up as a person, as a professional, so you're failing forward because you took lessons from it.
Yeah. All these challenges that you face are always going to present you with opportunities to, like for instance, I think there's a lot of other things in the book that you would have seen that would describe the kind of character that I have.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like talking about myself a lot, but there are certain things that I know about myself. You tend to learn a lot of things about yourself,
yes,
about your abilities and about what you can handle and what you can't handle.
Yes.
So failing forward to an extent, for me, relates to my ability to adapt.
Well, adapt or perish. There's a saying called adapt or perish, that's it.
Yeah, but also not forgetting to mention a few of the people that also have pulled me out of the ditches I was in.
I would say, I think it was the late great Brenda Fassie who said, "Umuntu ngabantu."
True.
Like it cannot. Truer words were never said.
Very true.
Truer words were never said. So yeah, don't worry. We know you've mentioned a few of your mentors, whether we're talking about Keshav, Boyo, Gumede.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. Very. I run out of words sometimes when I think about him, because you're, I don't want to say typical, but no nonsense approach and whatnot.
Yeah, guys who look like they don't know how to laugh. I know that.
Yeah, and he projects that. But at the same time, he's probably one of the most selfless people you're ever going to meet.
It's a defense mechanism.
You learn from him every day. So there's a lot of different people I've come across who've played a role in shaping the kind of person I became. You mentioned Boyo, and for me, he's probably the catalyst.
It's easy to say we loved her. Of course we did. But the depth of that love only fully revealed itself in the void she left behind. Mom wasn't just the heart of our family. She was the community's quiet champion. If there was a pillar holding up the sky in our neighborhood, it was her. I used to think that pillar was merely part of our house. Little did we realize how many people leaned on it until she was gone.
Speaking of people who've played a role in making you the man you are today. First and foremost, rest in peace to your mother.
Oh, thank you.
So can you please let us in, tell us what the role did she play in making sure that the man in front of us today is noteworthy?
that woman was, when someone is everything to you and you just don't realize.
Yeah.
She was exactly that, and it also turned out she was that for a whole lot of other people without realizing. That's why this a proper chapter in the book dedicated to her.
Yeah,
Because without her ingenuity in the way she approached life and the way she went about raising us, I'm not sitting here with you. I'm probably elsewhere doing something else, but I'm not here. She equally, I can say my dad was part of the process of raising us. Obviously, he was the man who taught us a lot of the principles we live by. But the softer and agile part of, and especially I can talk about my siblings the same way.
Yeah.
Part of us comes from her. The parts where you learn how to treat other people, learn how to
Humanity.
relate to other people,
Yes.
comes from her. The way you talk to other people as well, the way you project yourself. Know what Funsa Menas? Yeah, like all of those things you learn from people like her, and I'm glad she lived a full life. Don't want to say she didn't. She lived a full life. She might not have seen some of the things manifest in us as her kids, but I can promise you,
She's looking down.
wherever she is,
She's looking down. Let's go.
I mean, so she played a key role. There's a whole lot of other things that I put in the book, and there's a lot of other things I left out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but so to say, the things that I put in the book were very intentional. The story about that Woolies store account, the story, there's a lot of other issues that are in the book, but it's some of the things that she did. And mind you, my mother was not educated, so we say. She wasn't.
Street smarts, boy. That's education.
But her level of comprehension and the lessons that one learned from her on how to approach life.
Dude, it sounds to me like
Immeasurable.
It sounds to me like she went to the University of Hard Knocks and got a degree in hardship for first time. So hence you guys could have you can't do it like this part of the thing out of the way. Like, so you saw that through her, like, okay, cool. It does not work because of 1, 2, 3. Let's try it. Let's go left. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what ideally responsible parents are supposed to be for their children. Like, I don't know how to put it and relate it to the kind of situations we live in at this point in time. Our kids will probably experience some of it, but because we've got that, I don't know what, I haven't named it yet, but there's this syndrome we have. I don't want my kids to suffer like I did.
Why was it suffering?
Yeah, and I call it a syndrome because I really don't believe in it.
I'll check.
Posture can be taught, but instilling it takes a whole lot of other knocks that you must experience in life, and being able to shape yourself as a person from experiences. And we're taking away all these experiences from our kids just because we want them to have that element where we say we don't want them to go through what we did.
Above you kept mentioning that me and my siblings. Do you have how many siblings do you have?
I have 4.
What's the mix? You're the only boy.
Oh, I have no. I have a younger brother, but I have 3 beautiful older sisters. I have 3 selfless older sisters, and a younger brother who, like we said earlier on, some people project certain energy about them.
Yes.
Say, you know, I'm hard. But when you look at it in context, a lot of other people are softies.
That is
Their
true.
own right. So he's that's how I would describe him. But yeah, that's the makeup. Got an older sister, she's Constance. She is in the mining space, I think. Got a sister named Cynthia. She's also in finance. I think you probably read in the book that she was also giving me lessons at some point.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And then I've got Slaina, Lindiwe. She also works for the same department as me. So she was there way before me, and yeah, quite a mix of all the sisters. But they all had their roles as we grew up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get into that if
Dude, Skawa, no, I got you.
and then there's my younger brother who was in the automotive industry, so he's a mechanic.
He's a mechanic.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of people that help others develop and become better people, you've had mentors along the way. You mentioned 3 right now, and we don't know the Keshav, the Gumetes, and the Boyos of this world, but we do know of a Thokozani Nguni.
Yeah, TK.
TK. So TK, that you are a motivating force for a lot of people in and around Zwelisha. And without you, a lot of things could have gone dark a long time ago.
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
Hey, that's probably him trying to put me on the spot.
Is it working?
Hey, I probably have to do a bit more work. But I've known that guy for a while. Hey, I've known him for a while. What I say is I do what I'd want people done for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'd like to be very diplomatic with that question because, like I said, as much as I wrote the book and I spent time writing it, and carefully so, again, there are things about me that I don't want to give you my own flowers. I really don't like it. I don't like talking about myself a lot. And some other things might be material to other people, but certain things are, for me, it's just a no-brainer. If it needs to be done, it must just be done. So if I can influence another person to better themselves, you know what, by all means, I'm game. So for me, there's a lot of things that have happened, and especially around 2002, 2003, 2004, around those years when we were still teenagers trying to find ourselves, trying to see what life has for us. We had to, as young as we were, we had to be street smart to an extent and also be able to make certain decisions that were going to shape our lives for decades, if not the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of guys that in the early 2000s towards mid to the end of the early 2000s and the 2010s.
Yeah.
That I related to. I did what was done for me.
Okay.
For those guys.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys, Bunabo Lawrence, Mkabela, Bunabo Ernest Shomwe. Like those days, you find yourself in universities. Those guys had to come back to where we were and say, hey, so I remember, like I said, I was in high school at TK.
Yes.
So at some point, I think it was also done intentionally. So in 2 separate classes, we were never in the same class at TK, but we knew each other. He was that kid who, like if he got a 70 for accounting, I had to work hard to get an 80.
Yeah.
If he gets an 80, I had to work hard to get a 90. So, but the competition was very healthy in a sense that
It is.
yeah, we studied together. I mean, we stayed behind together. So I haven't gone through that with those guys and get help from those guys that I was talking to. That's all I knew. If I could get as many of my peers from home to where we were, and get them to better themselves to an extent, the easier life was going to be for us when we were there. For everybody. So I'm sure in the book you probably would have read about a lot of guys. There's the Mdaga twins. There's Botike, Usbarandu, my cousin Tibos. This I can't.
There are too many.
I made sure everyone I could remember was in the book. And let me put it this way: whatever that happened back then, it was purely because I knew last year corner we didn't have a lot of opportunities. We didn't have. So if I could get one more person to go to university, really get an education for themselves, better. Hence, that's why TK is being mentioned, and I knew you guys went to him. No, you went to him. Yeah, snitch. but in the main, I don't want to take credit for any of those things because they were being done because, even Namaj, if I had a chance to send as many kids as possible to university, I would. Because for last year corner, the dynamics are not the same as everywhere else.
That's putting it mildly. You're very nice with your words, like, wow. Sifiso.
Yeah.
There's a calm demeanor about you. There's a very calming demeanor about you, and we are told, reliably informed, that you've always been like this. Some might even say that you are uninsultable. So my question to you is having a thick skin part of the program?
I wasn't always like this.
Okay.
And a lot of people can speak to it, especially in my professional life. People who've related to me at work, in my personal space, and in my academic space as well, would tell you I probably have 2 or 3 personalities going on.
Psychopath.
Not necessarily. Look, I can tell you one thing, and I openly say this to a lot of people. I'm very calculated. And being able to say that you are very calculated opens you up to things like that, being called a psychopath. But,
absolutely.
But unfortunately, that's what I think I am and how I relate to the world and everyone else.
There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. The problem is when you start. No,
there's a lot of things wrong about talking to yourself.
There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. The problem starts when you answer yourself.
Yeah.
Then you are having a full-on conversation
by yourself.
That's the problem. Because I talk to myself as well. Because sometimes I just need expert opinions.
True.
What? That's fine.
True. You're the expert. Provided. There was a guy who had we're friends with who would say I'm an analyst.
Yeah.
I was calling them Abungek. He was a Zulu guy. So Ungek upon your own space. Yeah.
So when out of everything you could do, you decided to write the book. Like what type of weed were you on at the time? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was on CTA. CTA had me bad. If there's anything in this world that you can really, if you want to get a very good kick out of making accountants feel, you know what, there's something in Shabo. There's this animal called CTA. Yeah, that thing. In fact, I'm sure you've read in the. Okay, that's the other thing about me. I love poking fun at myself. As long as I do it, it's and that's why openly in the book there's like a whole lot of other things. But CTA, yeah, that thing.
It humbles you. It brings you down
it worked on me because my mentality changed from what it was when I came out of my undergrad towards doing CTA. I thought,
small waters.
Small waters. I'm in out. CASA.
Diddy Bob.
First attempt 2007. It failed. There I had it in my mind that
just a stepping stone.
I'm walking through this thing. It's a whole lot of different things. And if you go look at what the program is, I think I had a very, very bad idea about what it was and what it was meant for.
Fair enough.
So it was like banging my head against the rock for a very long time, not realizing that you are banging your head against the rock that will not crack.
Yeah, and the rock still stands.
You just needed to go around it or go over it, but you were banging your head on the rock. And that program on its own, I don't want to call it gatekeeping because it's not. It's there's the thing in the profession that the people who make it through are those people who are going to be competent, because the designation on its own depends a lot on the technical ability of the person, the ethical posture of the person, and the ability of the person to be able to adapt and cope under certain circumstances. So you have to go through that kind of rigorous assessment.
Baptism by fire, basically. That's
it. Because the program at the time was structured in about I think it was 4 modules. So how it works is that you have to go in and pass all 4 in one sitting. If you fail one, you redo everything.
All of them.
All of them.
You can't just pass them.
You redo everything. So that's how it is. And I think at some point in UNISA there were 5 modules. So you had to do all 5 in one sitting and pass them. So it's still the same. You must do it in one sitting. And 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, I was watching the World Cup though, but 2011, I think a bit 2012.
That's when the world was supposed to end, by the way.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it was a conspiracy, but yeah. So that's what I invested in CTA. And all these years, imagine most of that time you are doing articles. You're a trainee auditor. You are probably the least paid person in the world. And
well, that's a huge statement. We're not even going to go into it.
Yeah, we know, but it's Nyafananis. But it was the case to an extent. And from that, you also had to fund the studies, which probably took a huge chunk of whatever you were getting. So, but I had also, I don't want to send the wrong context. The way years where I had support from my employer at the time. There's a huge contextual issue that I must deal with as well.
Yeah.
A lot of us go through this program, especially the guys who are in the CA stream. There's a whole lot of us that went through that. I can count a lot of people who, I'm going to say, temporarily dropped out because they can still go back. throughout the years. I mean, the 22 years I'm talking about there is not necessarily for decorations. It's actually lived experiences throughout that time.
Yeah.
And when I really thought about it, I really thought, you know what, if there's one thing I can do is I can actually encourage all of those who are going through this thing. That, you know what, let's start talking about this thing. Yes, we know, we see it's an elephant, it's in the room.
Yes.
Yeah, but we keep on going around it. And people think people know.
No, nobody.
People think people understand. But at 2 a.m. when you're going through your management accounting notes, you doing your auditing notes there, you're probably not the only person who's doing that.
No.
You are probably not the same person, because as I was saying, CTA will humble you. You will get 20%.
Damn.
20%, and you'll think I'm the only one. And because I'm going to see a feel, yeah, the 20% who I'm no one else must know about it. And you find what's 50% of the class is in that range.
Whoa.
And the correct thing to do, according to how I see it, is to use it as a learning experience. What did I get wrong?
Yeah.
Why did I get wrong? What didn't I get from the assessment? What were they
Clearly
trying
there's
to
something
assess?
that I did
So
not understand.
things like that. So it's the same thing, but looking at the overall contextual journey that we go through. And safe to say again, the book doesn't necessarily affect people who are in the CA stream. It's also it also apply to anybody who's going through a process where they want to just get themselves to somewhere where they're not. So, but the reason why I wrote the book was just to communicate what I went through, and hopefully a lot of people find it relatable.
You wrote a memoir. You wrote a memoir and disguised it as a book about self-discovery. Okay, cool. I can get behind that. Also, without giving away too much in terms of bloopers, and I want people to actually go out of their way and buy this thing.
Okay.
I need them to actually, everybody, let it be their Bible.
Yeah.
Everybody has got 4 different types of the Bible. They need to have this inkling as well.
Yeah.
But I knew that you had something pushing you to actually write all of this down. Based on the fact that I got to Use Brixton, I was thinking Coke. You know, and then when I'm thinking Coke, then you're realizing, quite coincidentally, the Coke heist, the infamous Coke heist. And I'm like, okay, so let's use Brixton. Now, I think Brixton, I'm thinking Brixton Meta and a robbery squad.
Yeah.
You know, then I'm thinking something is pushing.
We're not far from there.
You were not far from
We're not far from there.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Caroline Street, East Leeward Street.
Like, can you please, like layman's term,
Yeah.
what happened? Great Coke heist.
The Coke heist was a different story. In fact, the Coke heist, I'll talk about it because I don't like the guy whose Coke was.
Yeah.
You didn't like that guy. So, how life was back then is that we didn't really have much. A 2-liter tub or bottle of Coke was a luxury for some of us to an extent. So we knew whose Coke it was. The gang was sitting. I think we'd have your evening caucuses where we just catch up and, hey, Pete, how is the day? And whatnot. And there's these 2 gentlemen who are much the boss dude.
Okay.
But make no mistake about it, they're very very good individuals. Grew up to be very
Responsible
citizens. Not in fact beyond that, because they probably have much more better stories to tell than I do.
Okay.
Experiences.
Okay. Sure.
So, Slatey, and I'm going to say, one guy just went calling him by name at the time.
Yeah.
Buy Coke. One gent went into the fridge, helped themselves on the Coke, And then the next thing, one person is mixing coffee and what? Back into the Coke bottle, into the fridge. Everyone kept their mouth shut. And to this day, to this day, I really think the guy doesn't know who did it. But
he knows now.
Now he probably knows. Now he probably knows.
When you wrote this book, did you mean it to be funny? Because it's hilarious.
It was intended.
It was intended. Like seriously, I was like on some what?
It was intended. And the thing about it was that, like I said earlier, when I make fun of my lived experiences, for me it's therapy.
Dude, you taking the fire out because it's like, how can they diss you about something that you put out?
It's therapy. Like there's a detailed incident. There's a whole lot of other things that are there, and that incident to a large extent just goes to show you how your mind isn't fully there about everything else that's going on around you when you're going through that thing. Because when the detailed incident, we were going to CTA classes in the morning, so we had to. This is probably the better part of the experiences for me, because at that time I was not a trainee anymore, and we could afford to drive, and so we had classes in Johannesburg. So we had to wake up very early in the morning, get ready, drive to Joburg, and if I don't
Joseph,
to learn, but that was back then.
Okay.
Yeah, that was back then. I used to drive with a friend of mine, Brenda. I'm sure you probably read about her. So we took turns. She would drive, I would drive, but your mind literally focuses on that, and the program is very intense. I don't want to mince my words when I say it's very intense. You don't get into that program if you don't intend to work hard.
But more than anything else, there's so many fantastic life-changing moments that this man went through. Like, you wanna read more about the Coke incident, the detour incident, the Coke heist? Get the book.
The year 2004 began with a crash. I was still carrying the sting of my stumble in accounting 1B back in 2003, the ruthless gatekeeper to second year. I had scraped through accounting, 1A by the skin of my teeth, but 1B, that beast had left its mark.
Bafo, let's talk about the number 22.
Okay.
I'm thinking 22 years. You mentioned it yourself, 22 years.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, out of the 30 days of the month, 22 times you woke up 2 a.m. thinking about your life choices or lack thereof. I'm thinking about the 22 times per day where you possibly like, but what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life?
Life choices.
Life choices, like seriously. So, but you kept going. Like, what was the fire and lit underneath you? What was it?
Okay. I think to an extent it defined, for a very long time, it defined me and what I did. I was invested in the process. I wanted that thing so bad. It was all I could reinvest in. My time, my energy, and everything else. Like a lot of lived experiences that I put myself in and could have easily taken a detour that was going to land me elsewhere. And I had to go back to it because I think, and especially now in the end, after having gone through all of that, you then come back and look back and think, you know what, it was actually totally worth it. It was worth it in a sense that now you're able to tell your kids. Oh, by the way, I don't have kids, but you're able to tell your kids.
You have nieces and nephews.
My niece is actually going through the same problem.
Okay.
Yeah, she's doing a CTA this year.
Amandla to you guys.
Yeah, specifically. So I can say to her, I was able to do it, and there's nothing that will stop you from being able to achieve them, which is basically the message that's there.
Yes.
Like an ordinary scruffy boy from Ezwelisha who literally is below the average. Because if you look at my high school marks and you look at where I come from, there's nothing too exceptional about it.
No, there's nothing to write home about.
Yeah. So an ordinary person can actually, with the right amount of dedication and application, an ordinary person can actually go out and do a lot of things that they thought or other people would see impossible.
Yes.
Yeah, so the mind is a very powerful tool a person can have.
Nice one.
So, I mean, that's basically why the book was written.
The book was written.
Yeah.
You call the book itself a love letter to the underdog.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to unpack that statement for us?
For me, the underdog will always need some motivation to an extent.
Yes.
And in writing the book, I was literally trying to do that. In every lived experience that I've had, I had the feeling, because sometimes it's just a feeling, it's not actually what's happening. But I had the feeling I had to work hard for each and every thing that I got. When I go look at metric times, I had a lot of disasters there. Look at my undergrad, there were a lot of disasters there. CTA, as I said, a lot of disasters. So I had to put the reader in my shoes.
Yes.
And I thought any underdog that would need to rechannel and go back to it and go pay the price.
Absolutely. Pay the piper.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah, exactly.
What would you say to somebody who wants to study, who wants to be a chartered accountant? You mentioned that your niece is going through what you went through.
Yeah.
Hopefully not everything. But
What coke incident?
No coke incident, you know, the liquid type. But honestly, what would you whisper in her ear as advice, as, you know, Uncle Lenyana Lovulemen, who's been around?
Most important thing is to trust in your own abilities. Trust in your own abilities. It's all within you. There's nothing extra that you must get from elsewhere. It starts there. And the second thing, which every other accountant or every other person who has been exposed to the program will tell you, you must want it. You must want it. And there's also the stereotyping that comes with it. Don't read much into all of those things.
Yes.
Just be you. The very same way you've been going about to get yourself there, continue. Be prepared to work, be prepared to pay the price, because there is always going to be a price to be paid.
So now, what happened on the 28th of February? At 4 o'clock to be exact, 2026. Do you want to tell the ladies and gentlemen what happened?
Yeah, hey. I left it as a question mark in the book because at the time of writing, I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Yeah, what happened is that I didn't get my results. I didn't get my results. So what was happening is I had paid the examination fees, but I didn't send the proof of payment. So my account wasn't cleared, so I didn't get an SMS.
Okay.
I didn't get an SMS. The SMS came 2 days later on the Monday, but it was a Friday.
Dude, I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
I went through a weekend. Probably was a
long weekend for all the bad.
It was a horrid weekend because what you see, like for instance, I can tell you, maybe it's my FYP on TikTok and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is even worse. Everyone is saying it's happened. Got my SMS.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. You have passed the 2025 APC And I was waiting for that SMS, and it was 5 o'clock. And mind you, we're expecting the SMS around 4. Usually release the results around 4. 5 o'clock, worst thing is that you can't even call the office and find out what's the problem.
Absolutely, it's after hours. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so now, no SMS, nothing. Email, Psycha portal, nothing. And now you start going crazy. But maybe me, this thing I have about switching off. And so I think after 9 p.m. I just stopped everything and I switched off.
Yeah.
Went about my weekend, and when I got to the office first thing in the morning on Monday, followed it up, and eventually got the SMS. Passing the APC, and also by that time I had already satisfied all the other requirements, because remember, to register with Psycha as a CA, you need to have done your articles, obtained all your competences, they call it the IAC now. When I wrote, it was called ITC. So you need to pass that, plus the APC, and fit. That's the other thing about me and all these things that I achieved to an extent. You become extremely happy for that moment, and what next?
Absolutely.
Yeah, then you start focusing on the next thing. But for me, it was a lifelong process, because I wanted to be a CA from a very early age. So it was one of those things that I wanted to do when I was in high school. So I knew from when I was in high school what I wanted to do. My dad would tell you, there's a very special conversation we had at some point where he was saying, Fana, why do you want to go so far to study? And he was suggesting that I go to TUT, or I think the other program that he was encouraging me to take was pharmacy. What do you call this thing? Pharmacists, what did you study?
Pharmacist assistant.
But I need to go do that AUL, and I said to him, look, I know we can't afford to fund university for me. And at that time, I think a decision was made. It was either I go back to high school. I call it rebrand my matric certificate.
Fair enough.
And hopefully get a bursary from somewhere, or we go try. Because at that time, I was a bit organized as a high school kid. I had applied, I had my acceptance letter, and it was just a matter of me packing bags and going. And it was up until the time when he said, "Hey, son, Sam is yours." When we got there, Uncle Ernest Fast was there. Yeah, and I mean that's how we studied, and we can't act as if we were not assisted by that program. So that's basically what happened. Yeah.
Alcium, do you think there's another book somewhere buried inside you, like in the near or the far future? I don't think I've ever used the word far future before.
Okay. Is it a word?
It's a word from today.
Well, I'm sorry, I was deflecting right there. Look, I let me put it this way. The book was written for a particular reason, a purpose, and for me, that purpose was met. What I can talk about Kakulu is how many more people get to read it, who are contextually the right people to read it. In fact, the book is for everyone, but there are those who specifically can benefit a lot through it. Another book maybe, but at the moment I'm refocusing on something else.
Fair enough.
Yeah, refocusing. Because at the time when I wrote the book, it took years of keeping notes. I think that must be also put in context. It took manuscripts that for a while I had to keep track of. And because I was going through this whole journey, I didn't really get the time to decipher what I was writing down, I was putting across. So it happened that I wrote my exams and finished. And I didn't really have, like, when you religiously spend your time doing something, and all of a sudden you've got that time.
Yeah.
And for about 3 straight years, I didn't have festive seasons.
Okay.
So I would rather be waiting to write exams in January or going through, be in the middle of a program, so that I would then sit in for maybe a mid-year test, because my CTA program at some point was very awkward because I started in the middle of the year with Mill Park Academy. So in December I was literally in my books. And the following year, I was literally waiting to write the board exam. And after I wrote the APC, because we write in December, so the next best thing I could do was spend that time crafting that.
You did in December for 4 years?
No.
Okay.
I kept notes.
No, I understand that.
Yes.
Oh, what I'm trying to get at is that this is South Africa. December is not a time period. It's a movement. It starts in October and ends mid-Jan. You are Decembering.
Oh, that.
So when you did not December for
I did not December for Fufu. She then goes, Fetu, CTA. Yeah, it's calling you. Come back. And I go, hey, CTA, Jake, I go about my knowing me, when you say something like that, you've literally planted a seed. Because this thing has been in my heart for a while. And then I go, okay. She was doing the bridging, because remember, our degrees were ancient by that time. So we'd done our degrees in mid-2000s. So then I go, okay, fine. CTA, she goes through the bridging program, she clears it, I go in after her. And then throughout that time, I really got to live through it, the experience of doing CTA. In fact, it wasn't CTA, it was the bridging program. They call it BCTA in other institutions. So I go through the bridging program. She clears her bridging program, she goes into CTA. I'm in my bridging program. And if there was one person who had timing to literally check on you to see how you were doing, because she's gone through the process herself
quite recently.
Yeah, and like you get encouraged. Okay, and then I clear my bridging, and then she clears her CTA, and then now it becomes, this thing is literally doable. And as you were asking that question, how it was for me, it to an extent it was the catalyst. That's when I realized this thing is not really very far away from where I am. Because remember, at the time when I was doing that, I had a slightly different motivation now factor. I didn't have anything to gain from it. I didn't have a financial gain from getting CTA. The whole time when I was doing CTA, I literally had financial interest in doing CTA. This time I was doing it because, look, I had to do it. I had to get there. And so Jakey sort of got me back, and she didn't stay away after getting me back. She would check in, she would send me material to go through, refocus. And I remember as I went to see TK, she's also one of the first people I called after I called my wife, obviously.
I think angels come in different forms, and clearly Jackie was yours. So well played.
Yeah.
Well played. I'm happy you listened.
Flowers.
Like seriously, I'm happy you listened. So, Bafo, how does one place an order for the book themselves, and is it available as an audio?
Not yet. I intentionally didn't do an audio initially, but I'm gonna start working on one soon. For me, it was one had to get a copy and read it. For me, it started there. One had to get a copy and read it. But I also understand that we live in times where other people have different ways of going through material. So hence I'm saying that's coming. But the book is available in Take-A-Lot.
Okay.
So you can get a copy and Take-A-Lot.
And it retails for how much?
It's about $250 to $260. You can get the exact price.
Actual figure,
Yeah, but it's around that range.
Nice one.
Yeah, it's a very light read.
It is a light read. It's a light read. Just don't read it while eating. You will choke. You will die.
Yeah.
So, Bafo, I know I'm trying to summarize 22 years of your life in a 1 hour episode, but do you think there's anything noteworthy that I left out?
I think we've touched on the major aspects towards that, but if I had to describe it myself outside of the book, I would say that part of my life literally shaped the man that I'm in. There are certain societal things that I don't subscribe to, but it's normally what a lot of people sort of find normal, but I don't subscribe to, and it's by choice. And I'm in no way saying that my posture and logic is superior, but all I'm saying is that there's personal change. There's this personal choices I made that I think were good for me.
Sure.
And there are certain choices that I think I should have made throughout that 22-year sort of space. And some of those choices that, not to say I have regrets, but it's choices that were obvious, but I didn't see them. And it also goes to describe another personality trait that a lot of people might not think I do have, but I know I have. I would have been stubborn sometimes. You don't even see who's stubborn.
Yeah.
So throughout that period, that 22-year period, I had to really humble myself. You know, when you get humbled by circumstances and you get humbled by life, and especially in this profession as well. I think a younger me in my mid-20s took a very different posture towards things. I was going through all of these things, but at the same time, my focus was on competence, making myself competent in every way possible. Hence, when you look at the story there, if you look at it chronologically and look at what I was doing throughout the years, I might have quit CTA, but I was busy doing other things. So, in context, I haven't spent a year not studying anything since I started school in grade. We didn't have grade R back then. SSA, but. So since I started, I always made it a point that I tried to develop competence in me. So there was one thing I was doing somewhere there, and if you read the book, you will see that every year there's a gap filled for each and every year that's there.
Yes.
With certain something that I was studying. But it also went with the personality to an extent that with work itself, I had this mindset that I don't think a lot of people should subscribe to. I knew my competence, my areas of competence, and no one else could tell me otherwise. I had this thing that said to me, you're the best at your job, and no one else can tell you otherwise. So that's how I approached it. And to an extent, it had an element of arrogance to it, because even when you are presenting facts to people, when you are interacting with people, you ought to sort of leave a mark.
Nice.
When you and that was at the time I intentionally would try and do that, and to an extent it leads to one overcompensating. So I had to be humbled in a sense that I had to also realize that you are not the smartest guy in the room. You can't always be that, and learn to listen to people, learn to have a posture that
be teachable.
All of those things. So over the years, I had to learn all of that, and I also think had I qualified back then, it was going to be a disaster. Because all of those live lessons that I would not have. I probably would have learned them through experience exercises, maybe expensive exercises, so to say. And I'm grateful for that. And as much as I said the decisions that I think I should have made, I don't have regrets, and I'm glad it took me 22 years.
Nice.
Very glad it took me 22 years.
Well put.
So, and lastly, so to say that you know how much of a flex it is that you get to say to your children, your dad had to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and literally there was no motivation. So it's time for you to go earn your own. Earn your own. And discussing listening, we underestimate these kids. That's why these COVID babies are showing people a lot of flames. Kids can comprehend a lot, and they learn a lot. Amongst black people, we must make it a norm that these things are embedded in these kids. They know as much as they must make their own life choices and be able to choose their own paths. But it's so much of a flex to say to the younger ones, look, I stuck to the book. I didn't push for this life of chasing fast things, because there is a lot of things that one can do, and the mentality that says spele aspadali, and that's very rife, and especially in Mbombela Lamalang. But ukutshela ukuthi spele aspadali, and look at the young professionals who are still paying the price. There's nothing that you are going to gain from these exercises, because you go through stages, and that's how professionals are developed. You don't become a competent MBA graduate executive who hasn't gone through certain stages.
That is true.
So I think what we're lacking is trying to teach these things from the household. We are not doing that enough, and I think that's the flex that I'm going to take from this experience.
I think that's
through my lived experiences and being able to influence my nephews, my nieces, even my friends' kids. To say spele siyabhadala to an extent, and the beautiful thing about it is that no one can take it away from you.
Never.
No one can, like, if mfuno nami my will, I can leave a decree that says you must write all my credentials on my tombstone. But now that I'm living, I don't want to be them. I don't want this title, the CASA, to actually be me, because I've got other designations as well. Like I'm an RGA SA, I'm a professional accountant SA. There's other things that I've done at the same time.
But some are more important to you than just.
In fact, they're all important. they all important. This one has so much significance because it's the one that I've been chasing since I was in high school.
Day one.
So for me, it meant that I had to make absolutely sure that I get this one to go sit with the other ones that are there. And with that, a lot of people, we are different as people. For me, angifuni ukuthi when someone comes and meets me for the first time, they meet the designation and not meet the person.
Yeah.
So hence, a lot of people might know, but most don't. So when I meet a person,
you want to meet them?
I meet them. Yeah, like I want to experience you without you having to put me in a box.
Yeah, that is true.
And what I found after this book, as well as after qualifying, is that you tend to be put in a box quite quickly with the designation. So I want it to be normal. I want it to be normal. Like the Joe Lastratini should be able to say, I'm a CA without you thinking otherwise. We are normal people. The only thing that's special about us is that we were put through a competency program that required you to be focused and be competent at a lot of things that a lot of other people are not. But in terms of being a person, you can't want to be something else other than and forget to be a person, because being a person means like the people I hung out with when I was in high school are still my friends.
Nice.
The guys that I chilled with are still my friends.
Very much still part of your life.
Yeah,
that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah, so
That's exactly how it should be.
I think that's more important for me than any of these things. It's good because I also understand why a lot of people would say I'm a CA and really put it out there. The struggle is so... It leaves scars, man.
I understand that, but then what also needs to be put out there is that everybody's fighting through whatever they are fighting through.
Yeah.
So as much as CTA kicked your rear end, you know, like however many times, Speech is going through his own.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's, let's just be human first. True. And then let's leave the titles.
I think for me, that's that. I need to be able to say that I relate to you as a human being before anything else.
But for it, as an upcoming podcast ourselves, we found a lot of meaty facts that related to us in our own journey so far. A few of you guys were there from day ones, our actual day ones, whether it was the first view or the first guy ordered the t-shirt. That would be you, Penny. Everybody should read this. There's lessons to be learned, and let's all be part of the growth. I know you're thinking CA. It's all about CAs. No, it's all about life. It's all about chasing for what you want and going after it with all your might. And pray about it, but damn it, work hard at it as well. So it's been beautiful having you on the hot seat.
My pleasure, Pete. My pleasure. I really appreciate this. I hope God pours into your cups in multiples. We can't say that enough.
Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. The merchandise is still out there for you guys who still want, and the ones who have already played and ordered. Your teaser on the way. And still your boy, Leo Grand, out.
Success isn't a straight line. It's a scribbled mess of wrong turns and comebacks. Keep going. Even when Psyche feels like a taunt. Even when the path stretches 22 years. The view from the finish line is worth every stumble. Sifiso J. Sifunda.